I'm Dr. Lauren Noel. I'm a licensed naturopathic doctor and expert in natural medicine. My areas of expertise are digestive disorders, thyroid and hormone imbalances, and also using primal nutrition with my patients. I got into naturopathic medicine for many reasons, but the main reason is because I was sick myself many years ago when I was in high school. I was affected by a thyroid problem and digestive issues, pretty much everything I specialize in now, and was just frustrated with conventional healthcare. And I went through many different doctors and never got really the answers that I was looking for. And it wasn't until years later that I saw a naturopathic doctor for myself and was finally, led to real answers. And I finally was able to rebuild my body and was healthier than before I even got sick. So I was really inspired by that, and I wanted to be the kind of doctor that I wish I had when I was sick. And, and I also wanted to be able to protect my friends and family from, not being treated appropriately. And so that's what really inspired me, and my passion is food as medicine. I love using nutrition from a medicine perspective, that I think that, every single time you eat a meal, you can have medicine on your plate that can heal your body and rebuild your body, and nutrition can also do harm as well. And so, that's the perspective I use with all my patients. And, using nutrition, I've been able to help my patients, rebuild their bodies from many different incurable conditions, as they call it, and, using natural treatments to also, help with that process as well. So it's a very rewarding job, and I absolutely love what I do. I am also the host of Dr. Low Radio, a popular podcast on iTunes. You can learn more about me at drlaurennoel.com and drlowradio.com.
How do you view the problem of sleep?
Yeah, sleep-related problems, I should say the importance of sleep in particular isn't just something that's really desired. It's completely essential to a healthy functioning body. And when this doesn't happen appropriately, then the body doesn't function appropriately. So, the body can't detox, optimally, and the body can't fight off infections as well as it should be able to. And even the brain's ability to learn new information and have proper thought process, all of that is all negatively affected when there's sleep problems. So I view sleep-related problems as really foundational to building the body back and to being in balance. So, more than just like wanting a person to feel happy that they actually are getting good sleep, it's like more of like a real foundational piece of their health. So it's really, really paramount. Hours of sleep really depends on the person. It's kind of a sweet spot. When someone knows for sure, hey, I only need 7 hours of sleep, or I really need 9 hours, there's kind of an intuition we have about how much sleep we need. It's however you need to feel refreshed. Now, there can be things that are happening, physiologically, like your adrenal glands are affected or your neurotransmitters are imbalanced and all that we can talk about later. But in general, the amount of sleep you need is the amount of sleep you need, and it's different for everybody, and it should be really, customized for the person. When we miss a good night's sleep, the next day we usually want sugar. We usually want crap food. Usually you don't wake up wanting, a nice balanced meal and a bunch of vegetables. So when you miss a good night's sleep, and if you, miss a full night's sleep, you're similar to actually a type 2 diabetic. Your blood sugar is affected so much that you become insulin resistant for about a day. So the short-term consequence of poor sleep is imbalances in blood sugar. And over time, it can affect, your immune system to where your immunity is lower and you can't fight off infections. Also, you can't learn new things as well. So, we all have probably experienced this. When we don't get enough sleep, the next day we just feel just kind of out of it. And that's because your brain needs to rest at night and get the proper brain waves. And when that's not happening, then you really can't, take in new information well the next day. So beyond those things, the World Health Organization actually looks at shift working and not having enough sleep as a human carcinogen. So it protects your body from things like cancer. So when you don't get enough sleep, your body doesn't get that really great level of melatonin, which is the sleep hormone that's secreted only when you're sleeping in darkness. And so when that hormone isn't released enough over time, it does increase your risk for things like cancer and other diseases. Beyond that, fertility is so much affected by proper balancing of hormones, which requires, good sleep. The ability to lose weight. So we know that people who tend to, sleep less, they have a harder time losing weight and, maintaining their body composition. So there are so many things that affect, but basically any body system you can think of is affected by sleep.
What symptoms should one look for?
For some people, they don't really know that they're having improper sleep. You might actually feel somewhat refreshed in the morning, but maybe you deal with anxiety, you just deal with depression or difficulty thinking or forgetfulness. So you might have those kind of symptoms during the day and may not know that it's because you're not sleeping deeply enough. Brain function is huge. So we know that once you're getting really quality sleep, you can then have that sharp memory again, that sharp thinking, and get things done and not feel like you're just in a brain fog all the time. So we see that a lot of times as well. Also, too, if you tend to be kind of sleepy all day long, just feel like you could take a nap at any point, that could be a sign that you're not getting that deep, restful sleep at night, so you're kind of running on empty all day long.
What aggravates the problem?
Well, for one, the biggest aggravation for sleep issues is continually being in the sympathetic nervous system. So you have, and I'm sure most of us are familiar with this, but you have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. And when the parasympathetic is elevated, that's your fight or flight response. That's like you running from a tiger and getting out of the jungle to save yourself. And the parasympathetic is the rest and digest mode. This is the relaxing, you just chilling out and being able to digest food, and that's what we probably think of when we do yoga and we feel that relaxed kind of feeling. But for many of us, because it's 2013 and we're stressed out, we're in this sympathetic mode, for the majority of the time when it should be balanced, equally between the two. When you're in the sympathetic nervous mode, then you're going to have a difficult time not losing weight. When you're in this sympathetic mode, you're going to have a difficult time sleeping. Because when you're in this alert mindset, your body is thinking you're running from a tiger, essentially. And it might not be a real tiger, but it could be an imaginary tiger. So if there's stress that you have in your life, whether that's real or imagined, you're not going to have an easy time going to sleep. So I would say, number one, what aggravates the problem is stress. And other than that, there are biochemical reasons. We said earlier, like parasites are a real big cause of insomnia. Also, certain nutrient deficiencies like magnesium. Magnesium is essential to have rested sleep. There's other nutrients that help to support your adrenal glands like B vitamins and vitamin C. So I would say deficiencies in certain nutrients would be the other one. And then also just lifestyle factors. If you are up at night and you have lights on all around your house, you're looking at your computer screen, you are, looking at your iPhone, checking text messages, looking at Facebook, your body is going to think it's daytime. It's not going to think it's time to actually go to sleep. So you're going to release hormones that are going to respond to that appropriately. So it's not like your body's dumb and it doesn't know it's time to go to bed. It actually sees a lot of clues around it that indicate that it's daytime. So, what I recommend for patients is once the sun goes down, start to unwind and dim the lights and, turn off the lights above your head and use just night lights and, like reading lamps and everything. So your body doesn't think that there's the sun above its head. And, use, even for some patients, because they've been so sensitive, I'll have them use, like amber glasses to actually block out the light. So I would say light and just modern technology also aggravates the problem. So in terms of insomnia, what can cause insomnia for people would be, it varies very much for individuals, but one can be too many stimulants, so maybe too much coffee or too much sugar. Also, like artificial sweeteners and, different food dyes and preservatives and things. These can be very stimulating for people and have you have a hard time to sleep at night. Also, I've actually seen this in my practice a lot that most doctors might not, check for this, are actual parasite infections. Parasites, many kinds of parasites tend to be awake at night. And so when you're trying to sleep, they're up having a party and keeping your stress hormones elevated so you can't get restful sleep. So whenever there's any sleep issues, I always do a stool test for patients and make sure that that's not there. Other causes of insomnia could be stress. You're up at night, you're thinking about all the stuff going on throughout your life and you can't actually go to sleep. And those would probably be the main ones. Also, too, when you have elevated cortisol at night, So this is when you get an adrenal dysregulation where you have, so normally you want your cortisol high in the morning so you can wake up, you're refreshed, and it should gradually drop throughout the day, and it should be low at night so you can go to sleep. When cortisol is low at night, which is how it's supposed to be, melatonin can be elevated. And so melatonin, that's your sleep hormone. So for many of us, our cortisol is high at night. That's why many of us are night owls, and we can get a lot of work done late at night. Well, when that happens, the melatonin can't be high, and that leads to insomnia. So those are the main causes of insomnia that I see. And now, in terms of sleep apnea can happen for a lot of different reasons. It can be an obstructive issue where, you know, the nasal passages aren't open properly, or you know, in the throat you can't get enough air flowing into the lungs. So it could be an obstructive issue. So sometimes when people are overweight, that can be more of a problem. So losing weight is a great option for them. Other times, too, it can actually be due to allergies. You know, I've seen this a lot in my practice where there's seasonal allergies or just elevated histamine where you're continually reacting to something in your environment, and it makes those mucous membranes swollen, and so you can't get enough of the delivery of the oxygen into your lungs. That's another possibility as well. For some people, sleep apnea is just simply genetic, and they're more prone to having that. And so then they can do a sleep study and actually be, you know, monitored and diagnosed by a doctor that they have this. And there's other ways that they can treat that using, you know, conventional treatments like a CPAP, which is a machine they can, like a little mask they can wear at night to have oxygen delivered, and that can be really, really effective for them too. So snoring can also be related to the sleep apnea. You know, if you have any obstructive issues and you can't, you know, have a delivery of the oxygen smoothly, then you're going to have some snoring. I've actually seen a lot of times food sensitivities can cause issues with snoring. So when there's gluten sensitivity or dairy allergies, it causes a lot of inflammation and mucus buildup, and that will result in snoring as well. And then for some people, just simply turning on their side and sleeping on their side can improve the snoring, you know, completely. So there's little, you know, tips for that, because maybe you don't know that you're sleeping on your side the whole night, so you can actually have like tennis balls, you know, like sewn to the back of your pajamas and prevent you from turning on your back, and you can kind of train your body into sleeping on your side too.
How would you treat the problem?
To treat insomnia, the very first thing I have patients do is cut out the stimulants. So coffee, even green tea for some people can be aggravating. So cutting out the stimulants like coffee, any other caffeine, sugar, Diet Coke, any thing that's going to rev them up, cut that out first and foremost. And sometimes even just that can do the trick for many people. Other than that, work out, get some good exercise. Getting nice quality exercise can really help to make those proper releases of hormones during the day so that you can have the proper release of hormones at nighttime. So, you know, physical activity like burst training, doing interval training, doing some weightlifting is really effective for that too. Getting your body realigned to the circadian rhythm. So your body is tuned to light and dark cycles of the day and the night. So when the sun goes up, your cortisol should go up with it. When the sun goes down, your cortisol should drop as well. But for many people, they don't know when their bodies, maybe they know, you know, their thoughts know that it's day or night, but their bodies don't actually know that. So when the sun goes up, get some sunshine. Go outside. Go for a walk when the sun is going up. And when the sun's going down, go for another walk. So your body can get in tune to the light and dark cycles of where you live. And again, once the sun goes down, don't be exposed to a lot of different lights in the house, because that will affect your hormones as well. So cutting out the stimulants, getting, you know, reacquainted to the light and the dark of where you live, those two are really, really powerful. Other treatments for insomnia would be to address the dysregulation of your adrenal glands. So if you have elevated cortisol at night, you can help to reduce that using certain natural treatments. So, you know, I can recommend more specific supplements later, but there's ways you can actually drop the cortisol when it's elevated at nighttime. So depending on the patient, you know, I can put together an herbal blend of, you know, different botanicals that can help to increase the GABA in the brain. GABA is the calming neurotransmitter that has you feeling relaxed and, you know, chilled out. So increasing GABA at nighttime can help with that as well. Also, as we were talking about earlier, melatonin is your sleep hormone. You can help to make more melatonin in your body using some natural treatments too, and we can get into that in a little bit. But the individual protocol is really, is what the question asks, is it's individualized. So what works for me to have me get sleep may be completely different from you or someone else. So it really depends on you. And you know, from a naturopathic medicine perspective, I very rarely just give treatments first and foremost. I'm always looking at what's the root cause. So if the reason why you can't sleep is because of, you know, lifestyle or diet or, you know, maybe certain stimulants, and those are the first things that need to be addressed.
What dietary recommendations would you make?
So dietary recommendations for helping with sleep. Number one, cutting out the sugar, cutting out the caffeine and the stimulants. Otherwise, using certain foods that have high amounts of magnesium can be helpful. So certain nuts or seeds like pumpkin seeds, almonds, even doing a magnesium supplement before bed is really helpful. Doing some turkey before bed. I find that for many patients, when they can fall asleep okay, but they can't stay asleep throughout the night, it's actually an imbalance in their blood sugar. Because what's happening is during the middle of the night, their blood sugar drops because they don't have proper blood sugar balancing, and then their body secretes a release of stress hormones like adrenaline, and that's when their eyes pop open and they're just bright, you know, wide awake in the middle of the night. So to help with that, adding in just some protein before bed can be helpful to keep that blood sugar stable to allow them to stay asleep during the night. Doesn't really matter what the protein comes from. I mean, I don't recommend soy in general, but it's, you know, turkey, chicken, maybe some whey protein, some rice protein, hemp protein, whatever it is that works for them, that can help to just keep them asleep. So that's worked really well for a lot of patients. Otherwise, dietary-wise, you want to just support your adrenal glands. So the types of nutrients your adrenal glands like are vitamin C. So vitamin C is great to help your adrenal glands stay strong. When you're under a lot of stress, you can, you know, wipe out your vitamin C levels in your body. So food sources would be red bell peppers, Brussels sprouts are great sources, broccoli. We usually think of, you know, oranges, but those foods that I mentioned are actually way higher than oranges are. Strawberries are a nice source as well. And then other B vitamins, so vitamin B5, which is called dexpanthenol or pantothenic acid. Vitamin B5 is majorly supportive for the adrenal glands, and it's often depleted by stress as well. So I recommend getting a supplement or, you know, having some foods that are high in B5. Mushrooms can be a nice source of that, like, you know, cremini mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms, and those can help to support your stress hormone response. Other than that, foods that increase your serotonin, which is the precursor to melatonin, helps to make that sleep hormone. So foods that increase your serotonin include cashews, bananas, and also figs. Supplements I use with my patients include magnesium powder, so doing about 400 milligrams of powdered magnesium. I like magnesium citrate before bed. That helps to relax the brain and calm down the body, and so it allows you to just get in that relaxed mode to then go to sleep. Besides magnesium, I also use GABA. So GABA is, again, this calming neurotransmitter. It helps you to relax and get into that parasympathetic state, so using a little bit of that before bed. And then also 5-HTP. 5-HTP is a precursor to making serotonin, which then converts into melatonin. So, you know, using a little bit before bed, 150 milligrams or so to start, and, you know, adjusting it based on what you need can be really helpful to have you go to sleep as well. There's herbs that are great, like valerian is a very calming herb. Kava kava, you have to be a little careful with kava kava because it can be a little strong for some people. Hops is great, chamomile, and just experiment with it, but you can make a little blend. There's nice herbal teas you can get as well from health food stores, and it can be quite effective. In general, I don't recommend to just jump to using melatonin because that can disrupt other hormones if your other hormones are out of balance. So I recommend to do other treatments first, like some of the lifestyle things I talked about, and maybe some of the other herbs and nutrients. And then if that's not doing the trick, then you can use melatonin in smaller amounts. Usually we'll start with 1 or 2 milligrams of melatonin and then go up to 20 milligrams at the very most if that's what's needed. But we really just customize it for the patient. And what to avoid for insomnia, again, it's going back to just a lot of the lifestyle things, you know, avoiding, you know, the stimulants, the caffeine, the sugars, the processed foods, just cutting out, you know, the processed grains out of the diet, cutting out the dairy, and just really sticking to healthy proteins and, you know, fruits and vegetables and, you know, healthy nuts and seeds, lots of water, and just cutting out all the processed junk because that's really what contributes to a lot of these sleep problems.
What lifestyle recommendations would you make?
Lifestyle recommendations, number one, cut down on the stress in your life. You have to schedule time to de-stress, because otherwise it'll just get inundated with things to do and responsibilities of life. So, taking your walks. In the morning, go for a walk. When the sun comes down, go for a walk, and make that a real priority, because that's going to affect everything else in your life, including your sleep. Ideally when the sun's coming up and when the sun is coming down. Also, doing deep breathing. When you feel really stressed out, just take some nice deep breaths that instantly puts you into the parasympathetic mode and you're instantly relaxed. And that is an easy thing you can do. It doesn't cost any money, and it's really simple and effective. So deep breathing, and just being around people who make you happy. If you're in a stressful relationship, or if you have a job that's stressing you out, you have to balance that out with things that you really like to do, people you really love to be around, things that really charge your tank or charge your battery and fill your tanks. So those are the kind of lifestyle things that have you feel happy, relaxed, and then have you clear and not feel so stressed when you're trying to actually go to sleep. Also, lifestyle-wise, too, I didn't mention this, you want to have a room that's in complete and total darkness when you're sleeping. So your body is very sensitive to light. And it doesn't even matter if you're using a night, like a mask over your eyes to cover your eyes when you're sleeping, because your body, even your skin, can sense light. It has light receptors in the skin. So you want to have complete and total darkness in your room, and cover up night lights. Don't let any light coming in from outside, because that's going to make a big difference. And we all know when we go into a hotel and we sleep in a pitch black hotel, we can sleep till noon the next day because we sleep so deeply in that kind of environment. So make your space really sacred where you sleep, and have it be as dark as possible. That'll make a big difference for you. Another lifestyle tip I'll share is to avoid alcohol before bed. A lot of ladies, especially I see in my practice, they rely on using wine to go to bed, but it can help you relax initially, but then it actually has your blood sugar levels drop at night, and then you can be wide awake in the middle of the night. So avoid the alcohol, and also avoid smoking because of the nicotine rush. That can also prevent you from sleeping as well. So those are also kinds of stimulants that can disrupt sleep. Exercising in general is a really great idea to have the proper release of hormones and neurotransmitter balancing. It can help with sleep indirectly, but you don't want to exercise right before bed. If you think about it, think back to our caveman ancestors before all this technology and electricity came around, and I highly doubt that they were out there on a treadmill in the middle of the jungle getting their calories burned off. When the sun goes down, they went to sleep. And your body really isn't accustomed to working out and being in physical activity, strenuous activity once the sun goes down. So I really recommend to, transition to working out in the morning time when you have the spike in the cortisol, and really shift away from working out at night, because that can also stimulate you and have you have difficulty going to sleep.